Welcome to The Breakdown with INFB. We're your hosts, Garrett Kelly
and Heidi Gant.
On today's episode, we're gearing up for the most popular time of the year for agritourism destinations in Indiana. There are more than 300 agritourism destinations in the state, and that includes farm tours, U-Picks, farm markets, Christmas trees, flower farms, wineries, and a host of other activities that bring people out to the farm.
Our guests today are here to give us a peek into the lives of agritourism owners, what it takes to be successful, and why they're so valuable to Indiana's agricultural makeup. First up is Linda Baird, who owns Cornucopia Farms in Scottsburg, Indiana, with her family. So welcome, Linda, to the podcast.
Well, thank you so much for having me today. I'm looking forward to having a conversation about agritourism.
So are we. So let's get started. Something easy, Linda. Tell us a little bit about your operation and kind of what you all do on the farm there.
Okay. Cornucopia Farm is kind of a multifaceted type farm. We're very diversified. We grow corn and soybeans, but our agritourism operation is primarily in the fall of the year, although that is changing next year. So remind me and I'll talk about that. But we have a corn maze, a soybean maze, petting farm, slides, straw house. We do school tours. We have a pumpkin patch. We have a U-Pick flower patch that's really popular. We try to do sunflowers. Just anything fall. We grow about 8,000 mums here on the farm. So people can come out and get a selection of mums too while they're here.
That's great. So what got you into agriculture or your family into agriculture and more specifically agritourism? Has it always been an agritourism operation or did it start as something else?
No, Kevin and I own the farm and started Cornucopia Farm. We're first generation agritourism, but we are like third generation farmers. I grew up in East Tennessee, in case you can't tell, I still have a little bit of an accent. Kevin grew up here in Washington County, Indiana, and on a dairy farm, and I grew up on a dairy farm in Tennessee. This is really a neat story. I won't belabor it, but we met and moved back and forth some. And the last time I said, I'll move back to Indiana if we can grow some pumpkins. He agreed. He wanted to move home.
Oh.
And so we started growing pumpkins. We grew 2 acres the first year and then have added on over the years. We have 2 sons who grew up picking pumpkins and gourds and always said that either love it or hate it. They seem to love it. And both of them are married now and their wives help. Our oldest son, Michael, he and his wife live locally. And they both are very involved in agritourism. Jared and his wife live at Rushville, and she's a full-time veterinarian. So she's our veterinarian, but she usually just comes mainly on the weekends in the fall to help here on the farm. But Jared is on the farm today, helping do some things. He works in real estate, so he has a kind of a flexible schedule and still very involved in the farm. And so anyway, that's kind of the history of it. Over the years, we've just added to it gradually and added new attractions, new crops. But we still are corn and soybeans. My husband loves corn and soybeans. But we grow about 20 acres of pumpkins, about 8,000 mums. And then we also, this year, have a zinnia field U-Pick, along with a regular U-Pick patch of fall flowers. We also have sunflowers. So it's just a fun time to come out to the farm.
That's awesome. It sounds like there's no shortage of things to do, and at least it's a family affair, and hopefully you get a little deal on the vet bills. So that's good. So busiest time of year right now. What all does it take to prepare for what you're doing in late summer and throughout the fall? What's that look like?
We think it's a year-round process. Yeah. But we do actually, after the season ends this year, we'll sit down, have a family meeting. We usually take a survey on what we want to continue and what we don't, and come come up with new ideas for the following year. We also are members of NAFTA, North American Direct Farm Market Association, and we've been fortunate to get some ideas through them because every year we do something a little different. And as I alluded to, we have a zinnia field this year that's going to be hopefully really cool. We add, like I say, new things every year and change it.
So that's a great point to transition to my next question. So how has the operation changed over the years? Have there been things that you've tried that didn't work out, and then you kind of how has it changed since I know how long has it been since you guys started?
Okay, we started growing pumpkins. That was in 94, I think, the
Okay.
2 acres of pumpkins. And then we started doing a corn maze in 1999. We were the first in southern Indiana that did a corn maze, and there's been a lot of others since, but we're still doing it. We had our 25th corn maze last year, and we change the design every year. So that's always something new every year. But yes, we've tried things and it's like, oh, we're not going to do that anymore. Either because it just didn't work or the logistics of it were very difficult on some family member because all the family members contribute and have kind of their own specialties, which is really nice. Like the boys, each young men, I suppose they are now, but they each kind of have their own area. And when the ones in the other's area, they do what the other one says. It cuts down on arguments. It really is neat how they balance each other. And then Michael's wife, Valerie, of course, came into the family. I think this is probably her 5th season, I think, here on the farm. And she has taken over a lot of the marketing. She does Facebook and all, of course, that's changes that have happened over the years, Facebook, Instagram, and all those other accounts. And can I tell you something new we're doing this year?
Please
I'm
do.
Let's hear it.
super excited about. In fact, we're going to launch, well, it will be launched, but we are going to have an app for our farm. And the app will show like the kinds of pumpkins that we grow, our events that we have. So you can just click on an event, learn about it. You can buy tickets on the app. You can see pictures of things that are going on the farm. So we're really, getting tech savvy, I suppose. We started doing online tickets just prior to COVID, actually. And so that's been a change that we have adapted to on the farm. And I think that overall has been positive. And so we decided to go with an app because people are all the time saying, so what's going on the farm? And Michael and Val are really good about, updating Facebook and that kind of thing. They do the pumpkin scoop, try to weekly each season on Thursdays usually, where they'll pop on and tell the events for the weekend and tell a farm joke, that kind of thing. Just kind of feel good because they are becoming the face of the farm, I think. So that's kind of cool. They also have 2 little boys now. So hopefully we will transition into the next generation if they want to. Yeah.
So do you think with a lot of this new marketing and things like that, do you think over the past years agritourism has become more popular? Have you seen an uptick of people joining?
I think it has helped with awareness, yes. And they're a sector, I was kidding the kids today, actually, that I have become one of our target group customer base because I now have grandchildren.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we have grandparents bringing grandchildren to the farm. And so it's kind of fun to be that customer now. And that customer is also on, social media things. And so I think that it has been a plus for the most part. There are some negatives about that. If you have someone who doesn't understand why you do something on the farm and they fail to ask us, but instead they ask social media's world, that is a downfall to that. But by and large, I think it's good. And our customers they see the kids, the young people in public, and they're like, oh, we see you on the pumpkin scoop. And I think it builds a connection that way.
That's great. As the person who runs the Indiana Farm Bureau socials and several others for places I've worked, there's a bright side and a dark side. It's kind of like with everything.
Yes.
Yeah. So Linda, you and your husband are also very involved in Farm Bureau on the policy side and participating in policy advisory groups. And recently you testified at the State House on legislation that impacted your industry this past session. Can you talk about why it's important to participate in advocating for agriculture at the legislative level and in some of those groups?
Yes, and I wish more people would do that. I think people think, oh, somebody else will do it. Kevin and I have been involved in Farm Bureau for several years. My parents were involved in Farm Bureau in Tennessee, of course, but I do believe it's a great advocate for farmers, and we all should be advocating for agriculture because we are a very slim minority in the population, and there are so many people that are willing to make rules for us that have no idea what we do. So I do think it's very important, and I appreciated the opportunity this year to be able to go to the State House and actually testify. That was the first time we'd actually been able to do that particular thing. I think Kevin and I would both be willing to do it again, so it wasn't terrifying. I just want to
write that down. Write that down, honey.
We've recorded you saying that. Yeah.
And I do. I think people are really nervous or scared about going and doing something like that, but everybody was super nice to us, and nobody bashed us or anything like that. I just think it was a good experience for us, and hopefully it was a good experience to make people more aware of agritourism and the things we do. And I hope that there are good things that come out of that. Maybe not everything that we would have liked to come out of it did, but I think we'll make some progress on it, and there might be more to do in the future with it. But overall, it was a good experience, and I'd encourage others to do that.
We appreciate you again being so involved in that. And like we heard, you're going to be more involved in that in the future if we need you. So that's
Just
great.
call us.
Yeah. Well, let's kind of wrap things up. Is there something specifically you're looking forward to this busy season at Cornucopia Farms, or even why should people come visit you at Cornucopia Farms this year?
Just come and enjoy a family time, make good memories. We have people who come back every year. It's like one thing I love about it. It's like a family reunion. I see these people one time a year. Up to this year. Remember, I said I was going to tell you about next year, but the family reunion, and it's like their family, and we hope that they think of us as their family too. And we just feel so blessed to live here on the farm, and very thankful to God for all the blessings He's given us to be able to work with our family, our kids, and hopefully our grandkids at some point. Although Carter's already starting to work. He's 2, and he just loves helping. Anyway, I do want to tell you that in 2025, next spring, we are going to be open at Cornucopia for a few days in the spring. We're going to have tulips.
Oh,
is the plan. So you heard it here first.
Okay, breaking news on the podcast.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the plan. So it'll be fun. Yeah.
Colorful and great. I think that's great. We want to thank you so much for joining us, Linda, and certainly everybody get up to down to Cornucopia Farms, wherever you are in the state. Get there.
Yeah. Southern Indiana.
Yeah,
Yes.
and we well, wherever the listeners are, we know you're
Right.
down. But but we appreciate you taking the time and wish you continued success. Thanks for joining us.
All right. Thank you guys for offering to have us.
We're going to take a quick break and be right back to talk with Maureen Kircher and Molly Kiefer from Kircher's Sunrise Orchards in Elkhart County. Welcome to the podcast, Maureen and Molly. How are you?
Thank you. Great. Thanks for having us.
Great. Awesome. So let's just get started. One of you tell us a little bit about your operation and how you got involved. I guess, Maureen, let's start with you.
So the farm is 102 years old. And my husband and I are fourth generation and Molly's fifth generation. And they started growing apple trees along the Elkhart River in Goshen, 40 acres. And we grew to about 500 to 550 acres in the 80s and 90s. Well, things changed a lot in those years, and there was kind of an explosion of apples in the United States. So as things progressed, the apple orchard downsized a little bit, but we ramped up the entertainment agriculture because people wanted to come out and pick apples. So fast forward to today, we grow a lot of produce, vegetables, and fruit. Our apple orchard is only about 100 acres anymore. It's not as big as it used to be, but the U-Pick is going crazy. People love to come out and you pick apples and you pick pumpkins, and we have free hay rides that go out to the pumpkin patch. We have always approached this as we're a farm that once a year we open up the door to the community to come in and enjoy the farm. We never had it in our heads that we were an entertainment agriculture venue. So that is kind of secondary to our growing of fruits and vegetables, but it's become a huge part of our fall. September and October are wildly crazy popular in the area, and every day you can see hundreds of cars parked in our parking lot, no matter what day it is. So.
Oh,
Awesome.
that's so fun. And I should mention this is a mother-daughter. We should have mentioned that from the beginning. But Molly, what can you kind of explain what it's like working with family and what some of your different roles are?
Sure. I came back about 7 years ago. Growing up, we actually worked on the farm. I did cash register, I drove tractor, I worked in the office, filing papers, putting orders in. So I always grew up, get off the bus after school and go work. And so I always grew up that way, and my siblings also, and I always enjoyed that. They pushed us off to kind of go pursue other careers too. So we all did that. And then my brother and I ended up coming back here to the farm after we did another career. So just because my kids were getting older, I wanted them to experience working on the farm also. So they're kind of at that age now where they're starting to grow up and they know how to run their cash register at 10 and 12. And, eventually we'll get them on tractors. And so they love doing that too. But it's just fun to see our family every day. We all live on the farm. So we're within, there's a field between us or a mile between us, but it's all the farmland. The cousins get to play as they grow up. And so we have really good memories there. We have sometimes little powwows at the end of the day where my dad and my mom and my brother and I are all standing in the back of our farm market talking about how the day's going or what's tomorrow's going to bring. And so it's kind of a nice end of the day to kind of recap what's going on, because we don't always touch like the growing part of things like my dad and my brother do, and they don't always get to see the farm market retail part of it. So we can always discuss different things that come up.
That's great. Sounds like there's a lot going on. And Maureen, you kind of touched on some of that long history of the farm and the business and some of those evolutions as you've gone along. What kind of, makes you take those on as they rise up? Have there been, maybe things that didn't work, as maybe some families are thinking of getting into agritourism? How do you know when to grow, when to take the next step and try something new?
Oh, I'm a pretty cautious person. I did it very slowly, but my goal was always, people would say, oh, when's your harvest festival this year? And it was always the first weekend in October. But my goal was always to make every weekend a harvest festival at Kircher's. So that was with my goal in mind. We could build that. I do field trips. We've always done field trips at Kircher's way before I even started doing them 40 years ago. The great aunt did them. And so that's kind of historically a very popular thing. Well, when you do field trips during the week, what happens on the weekend? Everybody wants to come back and bring the rest of their kids and bring grandma and grandpa and the aunts and uncles. And so it's just a really wonderful transition. Education during the week with the kids. And then on the weekend, of course, the families come back and enjoy the farm. So
That's a good point to talk about is I think something that you all have to your advantage that I think the other parts of agriculture probably appreciate is that you give consumers a chance to actually come to the farm and experience some of that. Whereas, some of the other, livestock or row crop farmers don't necessarily have that. You allow people to kind of see what goes on. So is that education to people outside of agriculture, is that really important to you guys?
so wildly important, really, because our families are growing away from the farm. It used to be, okay, so my grandparents maybe were farmers, but some other people, their grandparents are gone now, and their parents then didn't farm. So there's a real desire to come and experience the farm, especially an apple orchard. It's so easy to pick an apple. That's what I always tell everybody. A 18-month-old can go up to the tree and start picking apples. So we love the part of it where we see generational families coming and making memories here. And it is constant. People will say to us, we've been coming here since we were kids, and now we're bringing our kids here. We're bringing our grandkids here. And it is such a nice way to be part of this community, to be part of Northern Indiana and share our farm with people. And they appreciate it. They tell us, we really appreciate this. And the way we're set up, unfortunately or fortunately for us, there's no way to charge an entrance fee. We don't want to charge an entrance fee. We're just a farm that opens its doors to have you come and enjoy the day, but there is no entrance fee. They just come and buy apples and all the things. And our farm market is packed full of other things. Oh my goodness. A lot of products from Northern Indiana or Indiana as a whole, locally grown and locally produced products. Our market is only open about 8 months out of the year. So, but we keep it fully stocked with yummy things and fun things, and people know that. They come with their list in the fall. Okay, at Kircher's, I want to get my caramel apple and my pumpkin pie and my apples, and I want to go on the hayride and go get a pumpkin. And so we've really immersed ourselves in people's lives, and we enjoy them as much as they enjoy us.
That's great. So Molly, as your mother said, it's easy to pick an apple. Maybe it's not easy to get prepped for all the people coming and to get prepped for the busy season. So how do you guys get prepared for that, and what's kind of that look like, as a family business?
Right. Well, we just
pull in everybody.
Yeah. I mean, we rely on family quite a bit. Like my husband comes on the weekends and works all weekend after his day job during the week. We've got some like high school kids that maybe we only use in the fall that have kind of the last few years, we just give them certain jobs, and then we just add it every year as they get older. But like
our grandchildren are very young. We have 9 grandchildren, 12 and under. So we are prepping them. We
in the next few years. Yeah.
I was gonna say in a few years they'll be really
we'll be set. So we do rely on a lot of part-time people in the fall. we put it out there on Facebook, and we get a lot of high school kids, college kids maybe that have weekends available, or just some women that just want to come in and have like part-time, during the week, even because we get busy after or during field trips, after the field trips are over in the afternoon when kids get out of school. I mean, it gets very busy, but yeah, family is a big part and will be a big part in the next 5 to 10 years for us.
I think one of the most important things on our farm, and I think probably any venue where you're inviting people to come in, is you need a personality out in front to welcome the people. And early on, one of the teachers dubbed me Mrs. Apple. So, and I guess I'm that personality, but people like to come and see Mrs. Apple. They like to come and see Molly. They like to come and see the family. And we're always here. We make ourselves available every day. We're just always working. So we're here, and they love that. They love to come and talk to the farmer and his wife and his kids, and so we make that available. But you really need to have somebody that enjoys people, and is that front person, because my husband, we do not allow him out front. Many of you farmers will understand this, and farmers' wives. There's that person in your family that you just go plow the fields or pick the,
He knows his
whatever.
role. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Well, so it sounds like obviously busy season is sometimes hard but fun. Are there other particular challenges that you as specialty crop growers tend to face that consumers may not realize, or even other types of farmers may not realize?
Well, there's always the
The
weather. That's number one, is the weather. When you grow, we're the largest sweet corn growers in northern Indiana, and when you grow 400 acres of sweet corn, you have to have your contracts lined up. So you need to have somebody in your family that does that. And our son, when he left college, he went to work for Ford Motor Company, and big corporation, for 4 years. We hired him back, and he had that corporate mentality. So he does all the contracts and things, but you have to have a place for these products to go. You can't just decide, I'm going to do 10 acres of something and not know where you're going to sell it. So that is probably the ongoing challenge, because you get customers, big customers, and then they're buying model changes, and you have to adapt with that. Or they will tell you, like, I don't want to say what big box company, but the one that starts with a W, they will come in and they'll say, oh, we paid you too much last year. We're going to pay you $1 less for this item. And so then you have to negotiate with him. You say, no, you're really not going to pay us less, because the employees are more expensive. We use H2A workers. It's the only way that we have enough workers to pick all of our crops. We have 54, 55 people come in at this busy time of year. And if we did not have them, we would not be in business. So we cannot depend on the local workforce, which is the RV industry around here, the RV industry.
Oh, yeah.
We can't compete with them wage-wise.
Right. Wow. Interesting. Yeah. I didn't put that together, but that makes total sense, especially in your area. Okay. This last question, I want both of you to answer, but what are you most looking forward to this season? Or you could say, why should people come visit Kirchers?
We just started a few years ago, right around COVID. My husband always wanted to get into like mini donuts. So a few years ago, right when COVID hit, he was like, I think it's time to do that. So he kind of took that on, but we do mini apple cider donuts with our apple cider that's on the weekends in the fall. So you can come out and get a hot bag of hot mini donuts that are so good. We do cider slushies. And then last year he decided he found a corn roaster. And so we got that. And so now we're roasting.
We're the largest corn grower in northern Indiana. Shouldn't we have a corn roaster?
So we do roasted sweet corn and mini apple cider donuts every weekend in the fall. And then we do like elotes also, so you can get Mexican street corn, and we have all different toppings for the sweet corn. So, and that might even come out Comes out a little earlier too, because we start sweet corn, July. So then we'll even have some weekends. We pop that up in the summer and have some roasted sweet corn for people to buy.
I'll
So
take
that's
about
always good.
four
It's-
dozen of the mini donuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a yummy time of year. People love to come to Kirchner's with their list. Yeah. I'm always looking forward to my field trips during the week. The kids are phenomenally interesting and they learn so much. But the parents that come with them go, I learned a lot today on this field trip. So it's really a part of me. I'm not a teacher, but yet they always say, were you ever a teacher? So it's your opportunity to tell them things and share things with them that they don't have a clue about, right? All farms, we're always saying that people have no idea how hard it is to grow, blah, 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 So it's my opportunity to share that. Now, right now, we have a lot of the orchard that was planted when Tom and I when we got married 43 years ago. So those trees are old and coming out. So it's really fun. Last year was the first time they could see the transition. They could see the ground that the trees had taken out. They could see some old trees. They could see some new trees. They could see the cover crops that we put on to give back to the soil, because we've been taken from that soil for 42 years. We need to give back. So there's a lot of areas of education and entertainment that I enjoy every fall, every day.
That sounds fun. Well, it sounds like if you're in northern Indiana, stop by Kirchner's this fall, or really any of the 8 months of the year. It sounds like you guys are open, but sounds like this fall you guys will have a pretty big group coming in to check out what's going on at Kirchner's. So thank you both for joining us today. I appreciate it. Always fun to hear from folks like you, to hear what you deal with and what makes you guys tick. So thanks again for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
If you enjoyed our conversation today, make sure to subscribe to The Breakdown with INFB and even rate and review us to let us know how we're doing. For more information, visit www.infb.org/podcast.